We're on now.
We're on. I think we're here, everybody. If we're here, give me a thumbs up. I have a crew of people around here that made this all happen. Good evening, everybody. It is the 30th. I'm sorry we're 27 minutes late. We had tech issues because, as you can see, I'm not in a studio. I'm not in a hotel room. I'm not in my house. I'm here at the Fremont County Courthouse, and there's a crowd of people behind me that have been here since probably around 3 o'clock. Jordan, go ahead and zoom in. These are all of the people who are waiting to get into Lori Vallow Daybell's sentencing tomorrow. And Jordan, can you zoom into them as close as we can get? That's what we got. So you can see them there. Basically, the arrangement for tomorrow is first come, first serve. So if you're not here now, chances are you probably won't get in the courtroom tomorrow based on what we have been told, because there's such a limited number of seats that are happening in the courtroom and across the here at the courthouse. So I'm just going to hit this one button to make sure we're live on Facebook, because a lot of people are planning on us there. We went to go live this afternoon. Here we go. We're going to go live here on Facebook in 3, 2, 1 for those of you who might be watching, and now we are live. Big thanks to Court TV who came through for us tonight. Adrian, she's behind the camera here. We went to go live, and I have a new phone that we were going to use Wi-Fi with. It was one thing after another. I won't bore you, but I will tell you that tomorrow is a day many, many people have been waiting for as we learn Lori Vallow's sentencing. I'm going to tell you about what we can expect to happen tomorrow as this sentencing gets underway. It begins at 9 o'clock. Lori Vallow will be brought here early in the morning. We don't know what time, but chances are the public will not get a glimpse of her. This place is going to be locked down. It's going to be secure. The road to my left is going to be closed down. The road to my right is going to be closed down. And those people that have been waiting in line all night, spending the night, will be let into the courtroom, and then whatever remaining seats there are after the police get their chairs, after the victims and their families get their seats, after the court personnel gets their seats, the public and the media will get their seats. And so once those are filled, the courtroom doors will close. 9 o'clock on the dot, East Idaho News will begin streaming the hearing. You can tune in wherever you're watching right now. You can watch tomorrow morning starting at 9, and we will have that for you. So once the judge calls the court to order, he'll give some opening remarks. And he could say, he probably won't say much of anything, just welcome to the courtroom. You know, this is the sentencing. He'll remind people of the courtroom decorum order, which you can't have cell phones, you can't be live streaming, you can't take photos. And then he will call the victims to give their statements. At least that's what normally happens at these type of hearings. And we know that at least 3 people will be speaking tomorrow. Kay Woodcock will be giving a victim impact statement on behalf of JJ. And Summer Shiflett will not be here, but she has provided a victim impact statement in the form of a letter that she's given to the judge that will not be read. So that will be a victim impact statement made on behalf of Tylee, although we won't hear what those words are. We'll also hear from Vicki Hoban. She will be speaking on behalf of Tammy Daybell's mother, Phyllis, who passed away back in June. And she will be speaking. And then Samantha Gwillem, that is Tammy Daybell's sister. She will be speaking on behalf of herself, and then she will also be reading a statement on behalf of her father, who is elderly and will not be able to make it in person. I've covered hearings before where those statements have been hours long. Well, maybe not hours, maybe like an hour or so. And then I've covered hearings where they have been quite short. So I don't know how long each of those people will speak, but this will be their time, their chance to address Lori and let her know what they want and say how this crime has affected them. Now, after that, after the victims have spoken and after the that's all done, there could be other statements that are read. For instance, if Colby wanted to give a statement, he could share his statement, and the judge could read that. I don't know why that went to black here, but let me see if I can give you, there you go. You might just have to watch it through the way I see it. Here we go. So the judge, yeah, here we go. Here's who will speak. And then the written statements by Colby Ryan. I put an asterisk there because it's unsure if he provided a written statement or if one will be read, but it's quite possible he did. So after the victim impact statements, the prosecutor most likely will give their recommendations. I've been told that Rob Wood, the Madison County prosecutor, will be giving the recommendations on Lori's sentencing. So we will hear from Rob Wood, and it's likely he's going to recommend life on all of the charges, I would imagine. I'm just speculating there, but I don't see him doing anything less. The defense will give their recommendations at that point. They will probably recommend the minimum. It's just kind of their job to recommend the minimum, or they could recommend mental health services for Lori. It's totally up to them what they recommend. Lori then will be given the chance to speak. And once she is given the chance to speak, she could speak. She could talk for 3 hours. She could talk for 2 minutes. We just don't know how long she will or will not speak. But this is her one shot for her to address the court, to say whatever she wants. I'd love to know in the comments if you think she will talk or if she won't, because there's a lot of speculation. Will we finally hear from her or will we not? The judge will then issue his sentence. Some judges are straight to the point. They give you your sentence, no questions asked. Other judges take a while. We covered a court hearing last week, and it was an hour and a half. The judge just spoke. I imagine he might have a few words for Lori in this particular situation. So that's kind of the schedule of what will happen. Now, some of those things could be done out of order. There likely could be a break or two somewhere in there because of... we might have to have a morning recess if people need to use the restroom, whatever it might be. That's kind of how the schedule will go in the morning. Now, I already talked about who will speak. Here are the sentence possibilities for Lori. So she was found guilty of 2 first-degree murder charges. She was found guilty of 3 conspiracy to commit murder charges. She could get 10 years to life on each of those charges. So you're looking at a potential of 5 life sentences. And on the grand theft charge, she could get 1 to 25 years. So this is what we're looking at, and the judge will issue a sentence on each one. So the first-degree murder, he could say life. The other first degree, he could say life. He could do 10. So the minimum we're looking at is 50 years. Like that's set. If he sentences her to like 25 to life, meaning after 25 years she could be eligible for probation. So that's kind of how it all works. The judge will go through that in the morning. And of course, this is where you can watch everything. We've got you covered from sundown, literally here in a few minutes, to sunrise in the morning. 7 a.m., we're going to be live from the courthouse. As you can see, we're already live here. And with a group of amazing people who have been with us with food and snacks, and they're here, they're camped out. They might be watching right now, as a matter of fact. But 8 a.m., we'll have a special program. What I've done is I've gone through and I have pulled all of the, not all of them, but many of the reports that I've done on this since day one. So we have the very first report we did on this. There's 2 missing kids. Where are they? It was actually right here at the sheriff's office behind me. And it just is an hour of look back as we build up to the sentencing. And at exactly 9 o'clock, assuming the court runs on time, we will switch over to the live sentencing and bring that to you live. However long that goes, if it's 4 hours, if it's 10 hours, we'll bring you every second of it. And then right after that, we're going to switch to live coverage out here outside. I'm going to come running out these courtroom doors. Jordan, who's behind the camera today, Tony's here with me too. We're going to bring you live coverage as things are happening. Kay and Larry will likely address the media. Vicky Hoban might address the media. Others that speak, others that don't get a chance to speak might want to address the media. We'll carry it for you live. And then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I promise at 7, we'll have reliable internet because we won't be here. Maybe we will. I don't know. Another Courtroom Insider. So there, your Monday's planned, okay? Just stay with me. You can go to bed with me tonight and wake up with me in the morning. Or something like that. Through your screen. I'll stop. All right, so there's what we got. We have Justin Lum is here. He's over there, Fox 10 Phoenix. He's going to come and join me here. We're going to talk about this. If you, by the way, I want your questions. Peggy, my good colleague, she's monitoring the questions there in the comments. We're going to let Justin Lum pull up a chair here, and then I want to bring in some guests who came all the way from, well, they're from New York City originally. But I want to ask Justin a few things because he's been following this from the Arizona angle. If you've been following this story at all, you know who Justin is. We're giving you a look at our setup. Justin, come on in. He's over there chatting. This mic will pick us both up.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right. We were late. All right, so Justin Lum is the investigative reporter in Phoenix.
Wow, this is surreal.
Yeah, here we are. This will pick us up from this distance.
Yeah, okay.
So what is it like to be here at the courthouse today?
And like I said, this is completely surreal to be. I've never been at the Fremont County Courthouse before, so this is my first time. And then to have this line already starting, whatever this is, everyone camped out. It is very interesting, and tomorrow is a day that has been culminating for almost 4 years.
Can you
we've
believe
been covering this. Yeah.
Right. So you said you haven't been to Fremont, but you came out to the trial in Boise, which many of you watching are like, what's the difference? Well, it was moved to the other side of the state, but because this is a Fremont case, they're sentencing her here. So what were you expecting when you came into town yesterday?
Well, first though, yeah, we drove to Salt Lake City, and then we drove up to the Rexburg area this morning. So it's been a long trip, and I expected the community. There's a tight-knit community. I see more of a personal attachment to the story, obviously, because everything, the tragedies unfolded here. We went to the memorial by the old Daybell property, and that people have been in and out all day, paying their respects, taking pictures. Kay and Larry Woodcock were just there. And so there's just a different type of impact here and effect on the community than compared to what was happening in Boise. That's just where the venue, was being had.
Right.
So
have you been talking to these people? There's about, 30 or 40 here?
I would say now we're approaching 40.
40.
Yeah.
So honestly, don't come. That's a tip from us. You probably won't get a seat inside. We'd love to see you
And
here.
this has been going on for the past few hours, probably since 4 or 5?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
we're texting each other like, is anybody there? Is anybody there? We got to get there because, of course, we want to get a seat. We don't get preferential seats.
We were talking about maybe 4 in the morning. We were talking about
tomorrow.
That could be when people start lining up, and that sounded crazy.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, there's going to be this itch, and I said, when you go live, there's definitely going to be a line that just grows, but it's already started for a couple hours now.
Right, yeah. So, again, if you want to come down, you can, but chances are you won't get in. Okay, so how have you kept, this is more of a personal question, I guess, because this story, frankly, is exhausting. It has been exhausting, but exhilarating. I mean, it's all of the emotions, and it's so long. Most of the stories we cover might last a day, a week, 4 years. I mean, and we're still not done.
I think this story always takes precedence or priority in some way on our minds, on our work agenda, and as we juggle all the other big stories and important stories that we cover. And so we're always making sure that we stay on top of this one because we care and because we've invested so much of our time in our reporting. And then I think we keep each other motivated in ways, as you covering the side on Idaho, and then me in Arizona. I think that's also been good to really have that person to keep you going, and also at the same time you can be competitive, but you can also help each other. It's a different type of dynamic. So yeah, it's actually been not difficult to keep it going, but yes, very exhausting at the same time.
I think there's very few people that understand the toll. For me, it's like Justin knows. I know if I text Justin like, oh, another thing, he gets it.
Yeah.
But also, we're willing to share stuff. Tell me, do you remember when you very first heard about this case? The very first time?
When I first heard about this case, it was December 21st, 2019, on a Saturday. And one of our producers just kept telling me about this case and how there had been this press release about these 2 missing kids and that these parents that basically weren't cooperating at the time. And she said there's an Arizona connection, and that brought us back to Charles Vallow being shot in July of 2019. And she said this will be a national story. And she kept pulling me aside as I was working on other stories. And I remember like it was yesterday, and I said, you know what, write this on the board for me. Tell me everyone's name, who's who. And she told me about obviously Lori, Chad, Tammy, Alex, and JJ and Tylee, how everyone was connected. I was like, okay, something is strange here. And so December 22nd, our first story aired, and then it just unraveled from there, right?
Dude, and that was 2019. Think of it, everybody. Before COVID, before lockdowns, before we knew any of that. And who would have thought 2023 you'd be sitting here in Fremont County?
Yeah, and then to think that the week before COVID really shut down the country, we were at the Madison County Courthouse,
Right.
March 5th, 2020,
Yep.
for the extradition, and we were all just crammed together in the scrum outside the steps
Right.
too, and in the courthouse, and Keith Morrison was there.
Yeah.
And then the next week, it's like we had a pandemic.
Yeah.
And
Wild.
we were reporting on this through the pandemic. It just changed everything. It was just so much going on as this case was also just developing.
Right.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, a big piece of this case is resolved. Of course, there'll be appeals and whatnot, but at least we'll know the sentence. The big question is, what's the latest on Arizona? So explain to people. We know that Idaho kind of wraps up for Lori, at least. We still have Chad, who's, by the way, in the jail right behind us. What happens? What do we know about Arizona for Lori?
Well, we were at the Maricopa County prosecuting attorney's office, as the trial had wrapped up and the guilty verdict that came. And that same day, they said we're going to pursue charges in the case of Charles Vallow and Brandon Boudreaux. And so we asked, how soon could this happen? They said weeks to several months. I mean, what does that mean? That's such a wide timeline. But as she's sentenced into a state prison here in Idaho, could that mean just immediately right after that she's extradited to Maricopa County? They never tell us extradition plans, but I'm sure once, there's chatter here, we'll get the sense of, she's leaving the state, and then, it's all hands on deck, and that paranoia of when she arrives in Maricopa County, she'll have an initial arraignment, she'll appear and hear her charges, then after that, she'll be in a Maricopa County jail, and then could she not even want to go forward if she is sentenced to whatever she ends up sentenced with here?
Right.
And I don't, could take a plea deal, who knows? Or does she actually go forward with the trial? I don't know what would happen. But weeks to months, still that same timeline, we'll see.
Right. I think there's a lot of unknowns, even for like the officials, like the prosecutors, because this is such a unique circumstance. And she could very well, like you said, say, you know what, I'm already sentenced. Let's say she gets life in prison here tomorrow. She says, I've already got life here. I don't want to go to Arizona. But so many people have asked me, could she get the death penalty in Arizona?
Well, with the murder conspiracy charges, I don't see that being pursued.
Yeah.
If there was a first-degree murder charge, maybe there would be some aggravating factors.
Right.
Usually those aggravating factors are a criminal history before the crimes in Maricopa County.
Right.
You could say this is a criminal history once she's sentenced. I don't know. This is a strange situation, but there's nothing that I've heard to indicate that prosecutors would, seek the death penalty. First things first is getting her to Maricopa County, and then over time, could see what happens.
Yeah, in Idaho, she couldn't. If she just had a conspiracy, not just, but if it was only a conspiracy, she couldn't get it here because, as you said, there's got to be aggravating factors first degree. Yeah. All right, so what are you expecting tomorrow? You ready to spend the night here?
I'm expecting a lot already. We're starting to feel kind of weird, that you've been up for a while, and we've been working on our story for today. We just interviewed Kay and Larry Woodcock, and we've got a live shot tonight for our newscast in Phoenix, and so it's going to be a long night and a long day. And how long could this last? And will Lori Vallow actually talk? And will she say something? How long could that last? That will shock everyone, not just in the courtroom, in the state, probably everyone following the case, if she actually speaks about this whole case. But yeah, it's going to be a long day. It's a big day, though.
Big day.
Yeah.
I have heard from reliable people that at times over the past 2 or 3 weeks, she has wanted to speak. She has wanted to say something. Whether she does or not, we'll know. That kind of was the question during the trial. She wanted to testify at certain days, and then it came down to, I think you were there for that one day where they said we need to take a break, give her 10 minutes to put it together and decide if she's going to talk, and then the answer was no. And that could very well happen tomorrow, or she could kind of shock everybody, I guess, and stand up, and who knows what she's going to say.
You don't know what to expect, and it just goes to show you, remember the first week when the graphic photos of JJ were going to be shown, and we didn't know what was going on with her, and they were meeting behind closed doors, and she wanted to be excused, right? We were like, what is going on? So what will happen tomorrow? What is she thinking about right now? Will she actually want to say anything and show any remorse, or will she defend herself? She obviously chose not to testify during the trial, and even then we were wondering, will she do it? But I think the focus is obviously still on the victims' family members and them being able to represent their loved ones and tell their stories and share their memories, because they believe that there should be nothing less than a life sentence without parole. And I spoke to Dave Leroy, former Ada County prosecuting attorney and Idaho Attorney General, and he said you could have 5 consecutive life sentences for these 5 murder charges, potentially, without parole, and then what she could get on the grand theft charge. But yeah, we'll see.
And there's so many people that are like, why can't more victims speak? You know, why can't 10 people go in there? And Judge Boyce has been very firm on what the Idaho law says, where it has to be an immediate family member or a representative of the immediate family member, which is why Kay is speaking. She's legally not an immediate family member, but obviously she's a family member. She's the grandma. But under the eyes of the law, she's JJ's representative. Which is unfortunate that Larry can't speak. Yeah. She could probably include comments from him. We'll talk to him after. You spoke with them today. How are they doing?
Oh, they are. You know, they said whether Lori chooses to speak or not, they do not care. They just want to see her be taken away, sentenced to prison. Like, this is official. This is it. And maybe that brings them some sort of closure.
Yeah.
And then they're already thinking about Chad Daybell's trial. They are already, they're very forward. And they're thinking about the next move, and they're thinking about Arizona.
Right.
So I think they are used to this, whatever this type of lifestyle is now. You know, it's traumatic. At the same time, they feel like they've been empowered by the people who've been supporting them, and they feel like they're getting justice. They are different people than they were when we first met them.
Right.
It's amazing.
And it's kind of become their life. I mean, in a way, for the past 4 years, and so it'll be, a big day tomorrow. Anything you want to add?
You know, this is just, again, this is so surreal. I'm sitting here outside the Fremont County Courthouse. Yeah. There are people in lawn chairs and pots and snacks and drinks. And I get to sit here on your show and just talk to you about what this case means and just what this moment tomorrow means. And we've worked so hard, and the people involved have worked so hard. Yeah. Prosecutors, law enforcement, and this is just one end to the chapter here in Idaho in such a crazy, complex, bizarre case that has changed everyone's lives here, the people that are sitting here right now. So yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks
for coming on to chat. We catch him on his Facebook, Justin Lum, investigative reporter.
Yes, Justin Lum, investigative reporter on X. Yes, X. J-Lum Fox 10. You guys probably follow some of my work. I appreciate you. Appreciate this guy. So I'll just head back to the line.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, head back to the line. We'll see you over there in a minute. Thanks, Justin. All right. Yeah, follow his stuff. He's good. He's got you covered on the Arizona angle. Oh, it's getting dark. The weather's perfect now. Okay, so we have a lot of questions from you guys. And I'm going to read them to you. We're going to go through as many of these as we can. You can still send them in if you want. There's a couple from New York here that I said they could come and I could chat with them about what has fascinated them about the case. I'm going to give them a shout out. Chuck and Heather, if you're watching, you're over there on the line, but if you're watching, come on over here, Chuck. I want to talk to you. Okay, here's what we got. Let me pull up the questions, post them below. Let me know what you've got. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're live at the Fremont County Courthouse. First time ever we've taken Courtroom Insider outside. That's why we were 20 minutes late. Like, every Wi-Fi device we had died, and then Court TV came to the rescue with this device. So thank you, Miss Adrian at Court TV. Question number 1. Excuse me. Suzanne says, do you know if Lori is on anything like a tranquilizer? Her courtroom behavior is just too weird. I don't know that. I know that medication was recommended for her. I don't know if she is taking that medication or not. Is Lori on any kind of suicide watch tonight? Tammy asks. I'm sure they're watching her closely. I don't know if there's anything abnormal with that. They could be watching her closely as far as a suicide watch, but not that I know of. I do know that this could be her last night in the Madison County Jail. After tonight, when she walks out these doors over here, Jordan, can you pan over? Yeah. I'm going to give you just an idea of where. So this is the courthouse. We're going to pan over here. Right at the end of this ramp, right behind the corner, that's where they walk her in and out of that door. The courtroom's on the 3rd floor. Now, tomorrow, I have a feeling we're not going to be able to get the shot. And over there where that gray pickup is parked, that's where Jordan normally stands with his camera to get Lori coming in and out of the building. He's going to try that tomorrow. We're going to try to get one final shot of her. I think security will be so tight that I don't think we'll be able to get it. But that's kind of what happens. So tomorrow will be, unless some unexpected circumstance comes up, her last time walking in that door and walking out. And once she walks out, she could be walking into a car that takes her right down to the prison if she's sentenced to prison, or she could go back to the jail, where then after that, after the jail, she'll stay maybe a night or two and then go somewhere else. Okay, thank you, Jordan. You're allowed to camp at the courthouse, Melissa asks. Well, I don't think normally on most nights you can't. I don't know what the regulations are with that, but we've been told that we're allowed to camp out here, and that the first X amount of people in line will get a seat tomorrow. And so I came up here around 3 to 4-ish, and there were like 2 or 3 people in line. And so, yeah, most of these people, they're spending the night. Excuse me. There's a couple of cots. There's some chairs. There's coolers. There's food. There's games. So it's a pretty fun crowd. I hate to say it's like Black Friday, but nobody's going home with a TV. Will you have a live camera on Lori tomorrow? Will someone? Good question, Alexis. So tomorrow the courts are running the cameras. They've set up a few cameras inside the courtroom, and they will be broadcasting it. None of the media have the cameras. Otherwise, we'd zoom in a little closer on certain people. We'd zoom in on whatnot, or at least try to have different angles. So, no, we're not going to be able to control the cameras, but we will have a broadcast. We can thank Judge Boyce for that, for allowing us to have a live stream tomorrow, and that's what will be happening. How are the mosquitoes? You know, I was just hitting them. I don't know if they're mosquitoes or bugs. Jordan, you feeling any mosquitoes?
Yeah, a couple. One got me in the back of the ear.
Oh, one got him on his ear. I don't know if you can hear him. There are definitely a few. So, oh, shoot. One is sucking on my ankle as we speak. Sorry, you didn't need to know that. Will Keith Morrison be at court tomorrow? No, we will not be at court. He will not be at court tomorrow, but he will be monitoring it, I've been told. So we'll be here working with his crew and have the news with him as it develops. Will you do an interview with the Daybell kids? Cindy asks. I'd love to do an interview with the Daybell kids. If they would like to talk to me, I would be happy to speak with them. Peggy says, will you go to Arizona when things take place there? Yes, I plan to go to Arizona, at least for the major hearings. I don't know about some of the other ones, but yeah, I'd love to go to Arizona and see what happens there. I mean, this is a story that obviously affects them and us. So, will sentences be consecutive or conclusive? Good question, Lori. So, it depends on what the judge says. There's concurrent or consecutive. The difference is one, they run at the same time. One, they're stacked. So if she gets 5 life sentences that she serves concurrently, then she serves them all at the same time. If it's consecutively, she serves them one after the other. Obviously with life, that doesn't really matter, but if it was 30 years on each, it would. So that's up to the judge. And another question we have is, what about parole? Is she eligible for parole? If the judge gives her a fixed sentence, no parole. But if he says, I'm going to sentence you to 25 years to life, then after 25 years, she could be eligible for parole. I hope that makes sense. So fixed versus indeterminate is how we call it in Idaho. Are you given numbers in line? Ellen asks. No, not technically. Tomorrow morning when the doors open, they will take the first however many people are in line, and those people will get seats. Now I'm smacking mosquitoes. But someone came up with an informal number system, and so they are passed out. So I don't know what number I am. My buddy over here, Tony, my colleague, he's got my number. I think I'm 8 or something. Tony, you want to say a few words? Oh, he's on the phone. Okay, here we go. We have some questions here from, how are you? We have people here to say hi. We're live, but you can come on and wave if you want. Are you waiting for me to get off? Might be a minute.
I just want to see how live it is.
Oh,
because,
we're live.
I watch you live.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
Jen, I came to see you in Boise.
You look familiar. Yeah, I thought I knew you. Are you in St. Are you from here?
Layton, Utah.
Layton. Are you here tomorrow?
I'm in line, yeah.
You're in line. All right. Well, thanks for saying hi.
And I just emailed you and said, where are you?
I'm here.
News media was down there.
Oh, okay.
Where's my people?
Here I am, waiting in line.
Waiting in line.
Good to see you. Thank you. Okay, Tony, you want to come and take a seat? I'm going to ask you some questions. He's got a light for me in case it gets dark here. Leanne says, will they get JJ and Tylee's bodies back for proper burial now or after Chad's sentencing? I'm not sure. That's a question for the court. So we'll see. Hopefully it would be sooner rather than later. Tiffany asks, how far away is the prison? It all depends. When she is sentenced here, the Idaho Department of Correction, which is the state, they will decide where Lori goes. It's likely she's going to go to Pocatello, the women's facility, the maximum facility, which is about an hour away from here. So that's where she will go. All right, Tony is here with me. So Tony he's the guy, if you've seen the photos of Lori in the courtroom smiling or smirking or leaving the courtroom with a smile, this is the guy that took those. You're going to be in there tomorrow. You're like the only one that has a reserved seat besides the victims and whatnot. What are you looking for when you're taking these pictures?
I'm just really looking for emotion. I take a lot of sports pictures, and so I really look for the emotions that she has, the emotions that different people have, like the Woodcocks. Like, I love to get their emotions that they hug and they put their head down. It's just, I've got a friend, Brad, who takes pictures, and he does a great job, and he tells a story, and so I try to get my pictures to tell a story like that. And so I just want to get her emotions and her feelings so that you can put it on a picture.
Adrian, are you leaving? Stand by. Okay, do you need your thing? Okay, thanks. We're live here. I thought she was going to run away without her thing. What are your thoughts here as you see, I don't know how many people, 3 or 4 dozen now?
Yeah, I think it's like 42 up there now that people are just kind of hanging out. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like Best Buy on the day before Thanksgiving.
It is. My sister loves to Black Friday shopping, and this is what it's like. It's like Black Friday shopping. It's like, I mean, people are just like, they're talking. They don't. Some people know each other, and some people don't know each other, and so they're like talking and introducing to each other. And I'm like, they're like, hey, Tony, how you doing? Because this is the first time I've met them. Yeah. It wasn't in Boise or whatever, but it's like, it's weird. It's just like a small knit group that they talk about the whole case right now, and they're talking about people coming over, but it's amazing. I think it's great. I love the feeling and excitement there.
Yeah, and you hate to make it sound too much like a party, because obviously we're here for a horrible thing.
Yes.
But there's this weird bond, I guess you could say, that everyone's been following this story for these kids, these missing kids, and for Charles and then Tammy, and so you've kind of filmed. This community's been formed with people from all over the place. Yeah. We got New York over there.
Texas. Utah,
Montana, Arizona.
Yep.
We California. There's a bunch of people from a bunch of different states. Where are you all from? Utah.
Right.
All right, here, Idahoan. All right. Oh, well, are you guys waiting in line or what's that?
Steve Boyce went to high school with me.
Oh, we have a woman that went to the high school with the judge. Maybe she can get us in on a better seat or something. Oh, she wants me to get them in. I have no poll. So, yeah, there's just this interest in these kids and the story, and everybody is so polite for the most part.
They really are. And, tragedy kind of brings people together. And they were there talking a little bit ago about different things that the people are going through in their own lives. And, maybe this whole trial together kind of help them kind of heal some wounds or whatever. But I think it's just a great thing for, these people to come to get some closure, because I know one of the gals over there was a hairdresser or something like that, or Lori was her hairdresser.
Right.
And, just it's like closure for them. And, it's going to bring this whole tragedy, like you said, to a close, and it's going to, put some closure to this whole thing. So.
Yeah, we spoke with that woman. She actually came to the trial. Because Lori did her hair, and she said she was an excellent hairdresser, and she's here now. She's one of the first people in line to get inside and get a courtroom seat tomorrow. Somebody asked, why isn't Summer's impact statement being read aloud? Whose choice was that? That was hers. So victims are able to do a few different things. You can submit a letter and say, please keep this private. The main purpose of a victim impact statement is for the judge. The judge. That is the main person for who it's for. The judge needs to take it under advisement. That someone could submit a letter to the judge and say, please have this read aloud. Some people could say, I want to show up and read it myself. Some people could say, I want to show up and have my brother read it, or my mom. Some people, I've been in hearings where they've called in because they couldn't make it and they've read their statement. Some people prepare a very formal statement. Some people prepare nothing at all. They just show up and talk. So there's a variety of different things that people do, and Summer has chosen to provide the judge with a letter that she does not want read. And that is her right. That is her choice. I will reach out and see if she has a comment tomorrow after after the sentencing, and of course I'll share it with you here. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 to do a wrap-up Courtroom Insider, and of course if you have any questions at that point, we're happy to answer them. Tony, anything you want to add?
No, I just think one, I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this because my mom's gone, and I grew up watching these murder mystery shows with her forever, Perry Mason, and so then Law and Order, and I've glued the teeth by this, and so it's kind of been able to see her again, not see her again, but it's like to be like she's there again, the things we used to do together. And so, I just appreciate the opportunity and I enjoy it. And the coverage that you've done and the friendship we've created over the years before all this even started, I'm appreciative to be part of this. And I really feel blessed and lucky.
So Tony, we call this Courtroom Insider, but halfway through the trial, I don't know if you called or texted me one night, he said we need to change the name.
Yes.
To
Nate Line.
Nate Line.
Because everything. We hang out every once in a while, outside of work and so that, and every time we go somewhere, everybody knows Nate and so that, and I'm like, hey, why not Nate Line? This is like Eastern Idaho, and shoot, it's not just Eastern Idaho. It's like everywhere out here now. Nate Line is like, it's Nate Line time.
Okay, so tell me in the comments, should we change it to Nate Line?
Yes.
Or Courtroom Insider? I did tell my friends at Dateline, and they got a big kick out of it. Nate Line, EIN, instead of Dateline NBC. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of like Courtroom Insider.
That's
and
my
look,
vote.
He brought me a light. And we hit mosquitoes everywhere. All right, Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Go back and get our spots in line. I don't want to lose my spot. All right. In the courtroom behind me, she will learn her future. We will learn with her. She could say something, she could not. It's all up to her and what she decides to do with that statement. I'm going to check in with Peggy to see if we have any more questions. If not, we might sign off here. And I do have to say, the court staff, the sheriff here has done an incredible job making sure, one, the sprinklers are off. I know you're concerned about that. And two, they brought in some porta potties for us. And I have to tell you, I told some of these women over here, they're like, porta potties? Apparently they call them honey buckets, some people. They're like, we're not using a porta potty. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 people go in there. There's hand sanitizer. Okay, Peggy says we are good with questions. Thank you all for watching. Remember, our special coverage begins tomorrow morning around 7 o'clock. We'll be live to bring you the atmosphere outside the courthouse. 8 o'clock, we are live with a recap show about the past year. And then at 9 o'clock, the sentencing starts. All right, have a good night. Thanks, everybody. There we go. Hey, real quick, follow me. Follow me. There we go. There's all my channels. Nate Eaton Reporter, Nate News Now. No longer Twitter. We got to change that to X. And then my Instagram, which is mainly family stuff, but if you want to see, you can take a peek. And then, of course, we are on eastidahonews.com. And thank you, guys. Have a good night.